All right, everybody, welcome back to Seattle Sports Secrets. Once again, I'm Ryan Han with Tristan Pratt, and today is another special episode. We have got some of our buddies from high school, Cooper Schultz, Nolan Bazan, with us to talk all things brand new Mariners, some Seahawks draft. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I guess let's just start with fresh.
Let's start with
fresh
Kraken,
off
actually.
the-
Let's start with Kraken, and then we'll get into the juicy stuff later.
All right, that
So,
sounds good. I know you guys aren't super hockey fans, but I mean there is some interesting stuff going on. At least for these last couple weeks. I don't know if you guys seen Matty Beniers has been up with the big club, so that's been pretty fun to watch. Exciting.
point per game player, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, a lot to like with Beniers, and they signed Riker Evans, so that's good piece for the future. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I just want to start off by saying thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, no problem.
Real honor and privilege to be on this show. And the Kraken stink. That's all I have to say.
That's true.
They stink.
That's
They're like the
completely
third.
fair.
That's
they're
fair.
like the third worst team in hockey. And they lost to the worst team in hockey, being the Coyotes. And yeah, that's my whole knowledge on the Kraken is that they stink.
Yeah, I mean, you're not too far off. I mean, the only reason anybody cares right now is because Matty Beniers is with the team, and he's like acting like Ichiro did in his first year. So, I've liked what I've seen from Beniers. I think he has revitalized that team, hurting them in the long term, but it's nice to see him doing good. I like Riker Evans coming up. We'll see how he does. The main thing is they just got to stay with the course. And hopefully they get somebody good with the undoubtedly top 3 pick probably that they're going to get in this year's NHL entry draft. So, yeah, we'll see. But overall, good stuff from the Kraken for a crappy team.
Yeah. Tristan, you and I can get more into that in the later section, but yeah, moving on real quick to the fresh off the iron. What a start to a brand new season filled with expectations and hope. And as we sit here and record, the Seattle Mariners have gone 7-2 on the homestand and just walked off the Kansas City Royals for a 3-game sweep.
Their first of the year.
Bring out the brooms, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. First walk
They
off.
head out
to
to Tampa Bay to kick off a mighty rough May schedule. What have you guys seen through these first 15, 16 games? Just thoughts and impressions.
Yeah, well, I think offense came out. They got off to a little bit of a slow start. And there was a little bit of concern. Mariners Twitter was acting like it was the apocalypse, but yeah.
Of course it was. It's Mariners Twitter.
Yeah, they
plus
are
18 run differential on the season, and I mean the past 7-8 games, I mean that offense has looked very exciting. And I think pitching, a little bit of an undershadowed player is Logan Gilbert in his start to the season. I'm looking to see how he can continue to contribute, leading the American League in a lot of categories, actually. So I think the young talent is there. Off to a little bit of a slow start, some of the younger guys, but, Brash, Julio, Kelenic, I think they're all going to make big contributions down the run. So it's exciting, man.
Yeah, and like you said, putting up the 18 runs, that they put up 18 runs against the Astros, against the 5-time ALCS. Like they put up in 2 games alone, because you got shut out by Justin Verlander in that middle game. But I mean, honestly, with the way they're playing right now, who cares? Like it's exciting, man. Like I said last year that I wonder like what you can do with their clutch hitting from last year with an actual offense this year. And I think we're starting to see that play out a little bit. Because especially with Texas and Kansas City, these last two series, they've shelled and really gone off, which has been nice to see. But they've also had a little bit of clutch moments, as we saw tonight, and against last night against the Royals. So I think combining that clutch late inning heroics with a actual stable offense is going to be really dangerous this year.
Couldn't agree more, honestly. And from what Coop said, the offense has really come alive since the start of the homestand. I've loved what I've seen from Ty France. How about him having a good start to the year? Good Lord. Man's better be an all-star. JP Crawford's had a white-hot start as well. And Gino seems to be fitting right in. Obviously, COVID issues with losing Haniger and Seawald and the skip Scott service hurts. But at the same time, you can't not look at this team and not be impressed. Like, they have done basically everything I expected them to, in a sense. The only real issue, and it's a minor issue that could be a major issue, is that last game against Texas when they absolutely imploded in the ninth to lose that game when they were up 5-0. It's that kind of stuff that got teams like the 2016 M's into trouble to start, is that they couldn't finish off games. And as long as they stay away from that, they should be A-okay. Currently winning the division right now. Thank you, Baltimore. You godsends for taking 2 out of 3 against the Angels. But yeah, overall, I've loved what I've seen. Let's see if they can keep it up again in a brutal, brutal May. Hopefully it should be easier since we absolutely clowned Tampa last time we faced them. And then Houston, I mean, they're slumping right now, and they're slumping pretty hard. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, a lot of good points there. I feel like, the bullpen has kind of imploded on itself twice now. But, with Giles coming back at some point, and some of these guys, I think we're expecting them to, because of the season they had last year, come into this year and face no problems at all. I think there's definitely going to be some things that this bullpen has to work through. But, they got some young guys coming up like Munoz too. I think he's going to settle in nicely. So
Munoz is looking damn good.
Yeah, I don't see the bullpen's issues continuing for much longer.
Yeah, and there's another factor in that too, is like Tristan mentioned, losing service to the IL has played somewhat of a pretty big role actually in some of these bullpen implosions, I think, because I mean you're replacing service with the first base coach, a guy who's only ever managed AAA 1 year, and now you're throwing him into a major league environment with guys expecting to win games. And so the judgment calls is definitely a bit of a drop off with Negron versus service, and I think we're seeing that with some of the decisions and guys that he's called on versus guys that Scott would call on. Bazan, what do you think?
I agree with that. I think the Seawald being out kind of hurts for now, but he'll be back soon. But if I were to describe this team in one word, it would just be exciting. I was there at the home opener, and the players, they absolutely loved it. They were firing at all cylinders. The atmosphere at the stadium was very electric. This team will be a very good home team for sure. And I think it's just the road games. I think that's what it's going to come down to. The games at the road and the bullpen, if they can stay healthy. Because we've seen it that if guys are hurt in the bullpen, it's not super deep. So I think that's the key for Mariners season.
Agreed. Yeah, Bazan, we touched on that a little bit earlier. We're just talking about the difference between a good team and a great team. Good teams can win a series, great teams will sweep the series. So I think that's another part that will be key to the Mariners' success.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that'll be big. I saw a tweet today that was like, as long as you win like 90% of your, or something like 50% of your road games and 90% of your home games, like that's a 95 win season. That'll win you an AL West title. And so I kind of think that's feasible for this team given given the electric factory as they've deemed it to be. But yeah, I mean, you're right, Bazan. This team really does have a true home field advantage. So I'll be curious to see how they do on the road, especially when you're going into places like Tampa Bay and Houston that are pretty rough environments, and it'll be a good test of strength for the guys.
I mean, I don't know if you can call Tropicana Field a tough environment when nobody shows up to that dumpster fire of a stadium, but
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
Houston definitely will be a good test, I think,
Mhm.
because I mean we've had a fierce rivalry with them for a little bit now, and they are, even though they're slumping right now, they will be the biggest test that the M's will have. Can they beat the Astros? We saw them beat 2 and 3 again in Seattle. Can they beat them in Houston? I don't know if they can. It should be a very fun series, that one. I'm very excited to see where it goes, especially because Jeremy Pena seems to be really, really good, which kind of terrifies me. But I mean, Altuve's bat hasn't woken up for them. Alvarez has been hurt, trying to wake up still. Offense overall for the Astros has just been very, very sluggish. It's been weird. They don't really have a good starting pitcher right now outside of Verlander, who we saw firsthand what he can do. Yikes. And then as far as, the rest of those road games, I mean, those are winnable games. You can win games. You can compete with the best of them. And if you can take 50 road games and a lot of your home games, 95 wins, that is doable. That is very doable, and that should win you the West. I mean, the Angels, how long can they keep that up? How can their pitching, not get injured? The AL West is right for the Mariners taking, and they need to strike now and do it quick, because again, that May is going to be brutal, and I think the Angels might make it, sneaky competitive.
right. I think you had a lot of good points there. I think, again, I agree. I'm not too worried about going down to Tropicana, playing the Rays. 6-1 against them last year, had success against them in the past. And although I do think that people don't realize how underrated the Marlins pitching staff is, and considering our struggles against Verlander, to be honest, we haven't really seen a pitcher of a Alcantara level or Tyler Rogers level since then. So I think this road trip will really be a test of, can we hit those upper tier pitchers and get them out of the game?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly what I was thinking. Because, Marlins could be a problem. I mean, Jazz Chisholm is really good. And again, that pitching staff is stupid good. Like, they have just been setting everything afire over there. So, I mean, if it comes down to a defensive showdown, I like our chances a little bit more, because I like our bullpen a little bit more than I do Miami's. But yeah, that Miami series will be tough. Tampa will be tough because they're a really good team still. And the Astros series, this road trip is going to be brutal, and we're going to see how it goes.
I know it's going to be big, and got, like you said before, tough month of May ahead. So I think this team's really going to get put to the test.
Yeah,
But
as long
that
as we
said-
don't play in
Oh,
a
sorry, go ahead,
monsoon in
Bazan.
Chicago. Oh, you're okay. As long as we don't have weather like Chicago, I think we should.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think it'll be fun though. And I think with the May thing, the May schedule, like if you look at where this team is heading into a tough slate of games like that, where they are now versus where they are last year, right now, as the roster stands, they are much better prepared to take on a challenge like that than they were last year when they hit San Diego with Jack Mayfield running out at second base and Justin Dunn, the pitcher, being the best hitter on the team. So I think this roster is a lot more prepared for a stretch like that. And yeah, it should go at least a little bit better than last June did, which, I mean, to be honest, is not saying a lot. But in short, basically, they're a lot more prepared to take on a challenge like this.
I'm also going to be very curious to see how guys like Kelnick and Rodriguez do against those good teams. Even Brash too, because I think he doesn't he pitch against. I don't think he pitches against the Rays. No, I think he's the first game against the Marlins.
Yeah, he threw the middle game.
Okay.
Yeah, so he threw this weekend against Kansas City, so he probably won't be throwing against Tampa Bay. But yeah,
he'll throw that first game they play against the Marlins. But I'm excited to see how they do, because that'll be a real test of their growth. J-Rod, I really like. He's starting to heat up, and I'm really excited for that, because the moment he hits that first home run, I know he's just going to set the league afire. And it'll be what
in the world?
Recording stop.
But is that just me?
So yeah, I'm very curious to see how they go.
Yeah, I think it's
J-Rod. He's had a really professional approach at the plate. I have a lot of respect for his mental game. Didn't really let all those bad calls get to him, because that's some of the worst umpiring I've seen. The fact that happened to him 10, 11 times, that's just unbelievable.
It's not even that. It's like 13 times. His and Jesse Winker's luck has been ridiculous. I mean, Jesse Winker obviously had that great game today, but I mean, Julio has just been.
But as Cooper said, he's a very professional approach, and if he sticks to his approach, I think he should be fine. Kelnick, though, is a tad bit concerning. He just needs to cut down the swing and miss issues, and I think he should be fine. And then once Kyle Lewis comes back, this will be a very, very, very dangerous outfield.
Yeah,
dude, when Kyle Lewis comes back, you're going to have 5 starting caliber outfielders. That'll be very fun to watch.
I've said it.
A lot to look forward to.
I've said it before on here with Tristan, but like when we start getting some of these injured guys back, Ken Giles, Kyle Lewis prominently, but when they start getting these guys back, like Kyle Lewis's bat takes this lineup from a good lineup to a great lineup. Like that's how much of an impact bat he can be, is just take you from there to there. You know what I'm trying to say. He just he's that type of impact bat. So yeah, that'll be exciting. I can't wait to see him come back. And as far as Julio, like in all my years of watching baseball, I've never seen anything like what Julio is going through. So, and to be honest, like that bases loaded at bat, I believe it was last night, the bases loaded at bat where he worked the walk, that was more impressive than a hit. A hit would have been more exciting, but like that was more what he did, working the count, working the walk, and getting rewarded for his eye finally was more impressive than if he had gotten a hit.
Absolutely.
And then real quick, let's talk about Matt Brash, because oh my good Lord, he's looked really impressive. I mean, obviously his walks are a little bit of a problem for me, but I mean, yeah, his last start against Kansas City wasn't great, obvious, but it wasn't terrible. He didn't let up too many runs, which at the end of the day, that's what your job is, right? And then that's his first start against Chicago. Oh, good Lord have mercy. I don't think a pitchers deserve to win more. He went and he made White Sox hitters look absolutely foolish. And he did the same kind of thing with against the Astros too.
Two
Yeah.
lineups which are at least playoff caliber, if not World Series caliber, might I add.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that outside of some control issues that he's had early, I mean, man, his it's like 3,000 RPM, which is like major league lead for spin rate. He's looked incredible, and I really do think he has a chance to move up that number 3 spot in the rotation by the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Pitching in just favorite rookie that we've
Yeah.
seen so far.
Yeah.
I mean, his slider is disgusting. His fastball gets up there. It's like 97, sometimes
Right.
98.
Yep.
I've liked what I've seen so far. Nothing good, but nothing great, which is what I want from a rookie. Just, get more starts in there, and I think he should be fine.
I think his ability to stay composed with runners in scoring position or after multiple walks has been really impressive as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I said this after a Chicago start, and I was telling Tristan this, but like it looks like he's been in the league for a couple years now, and he's 3 starts into his major league career. I don't think you see that very often with rookies, and also you see that a little bit with Julio Rodriguez as well. But that's just really impressive, and I think the more starts he gets under his belt, I think he'll start to figure out the control issues. And honestly, I think he can make a run at Rookie of the Year with the best of them, with J-Rod and Witt and Torkelson. I think Matt Brash has just as good odds as any of those guys when he's right.
Yeah. Yep. And then Logan Gilbert could be a dark horse Cy Young candidate with how he's pitching right now. I mean, 0.54 ERA in his first 3 starts. That's absolutely ridiculous. And he hasn't been facing any slouches either. He's faced Chicago, Minnesota, Houston, and actually I think it's his first 4 starts, my bad, and then Kansas City. Like, Houston and Chicago, those are, like we talked about with Brash, those are 2 teams that can hit. And to see him have a less sub 1 ERA is just, oh my good Lord.
Yeah, I've liked what I've seen from Logan Gilbert thus far. Definitely should be an all-star favorite for the Mariners.
Yeah, I'd put Ty France in there too.
Absolutely.
He's right.
He's
They'll
been
still
killing
have
the
a-
ball lately.
Yeah, they should have a couple all-stars this year, which will be fun.
I think as Mariners fans, honestly, we can't say that we are too surprised with Ty France. I think us Mariners fans expected this from him. We know what he's capable of. I think it's come as a bit of a surprise maybe to the outside world. But that being said, one question I like to pose to you guys is, what has been the biggest surprise for you this season and biggest concern with the Mariners?
Yeah, hang on just a second.
Oh, hey, bud, sorry.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing.
Okay.
Tristan, maybe you could start us
Yeah,
off.
I'll start us.
Yeah,
I'll
sorry
start
about
us off.
that.
Why not? My biggest surprise, honestly, has been the hitting. I mean, I did not expect it to wake up like it has over the past homestand, but I've loved what I've seen, especially out of guys like France who have been absolutely murdering the ball. Frazier's looked good. Winker finally came into his own today. Suarez has looked pretty good. It's starting to cool off, but has looked pretty good. J.P. Crawford has been white hot to start the year. Julio and Kelnick have really started to get accustomed to it and started to heat up a little bit. Cal Raleigh has had a walk tonight. he's been impressive when we've needed him to, and as a 9th hitter, you can't really ask much more from the kid. I do think he needs to stunt in AAA, but only when Terrence comes back from the COVID list. So I mean, you can't really ask much more from them. Biggest concern, again, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but it's avoiding those collapses. They killed him in 2016. It'll kill them if they let it happen this year.
Yeah, I mean that. Agreed. That I think that JP deal is looking really nice right about now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same with that Austin Nola trade. That did not
Oh,
pan
yeah.
out for the Padres whatsoever.
Nope, not at all.
Jerry seems to have an affinity for the San Diego Padres and New York Mets.
And the Cincinnati Reds,
Yeah. Yeah.
add them to that list.
Yeah.
I mean, this team, the only one thing that has impressed me, I mean, the only answer is the hitting. Like, they've been on fire. They've kind of surprised me. Like, I knew the hitting would be good, but this good this early is definitely like a wow factor from this team. What is concerning is like probably the bullpen depth. I'd say if with guys hurt, it's kind of sketchy. But besides that, man, this team is it's good.
And Seawald should come back, so hopefully that shouldn't be
Yeah,
an
when
issue.
Seawald and Giles come back, I think this
Yeah. It'll
should
really
be a
get
very
good.
dangerous team.
Yeah. I think for me, honestly, my biggest surprise has been Tom Murphy because, I mean, like, you look at the catching situation.
about
Like, Cal hasn't quite figured it out yet, and Terens is on the COVID IL. But man, has Tom Murphy stepped up or what? Because like he's off to a blazing start to the year, like with a lot of these guys. But he had a rough year last year, and so to see him kind of come out and start swinging the bat this year, if he can kind of get back to like say 65-70% of that 2019 breakout season that he had, that's solid offensive value from a particularly weak position in the whole league. Like it's not just a Mariners thing. Catcher is a sort of a black hole for all of the league right now. And so if you can get even average offensive production from your catchers, that they will be sitting very nice come mid-season. And then
Yep.
and then like as far as the concern, I know we've said this again, but like the bullpen, just guys like Matt Koch and Justice Sheffield and Matt Festa, having guys on your roster, like that's not ideal, certainly not ideal. But I think like you guys said, it'll kind of be offset when the injured guys come back. But yeah, I mean, like if we see Sheffield at all, we've seen Koch several times, Matt Festa a few times here and there. I mean, Festa's looked okay, but it's the back end guys are looking good, but some of these like middle innings, mop up role, extra innings guys aren't particularly exciting for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. I think for me, I'd agree with your guys' concern. I think that's like the general consensus here. One more minor thing that I like to add in, I'm not really sold on Chris Flexen's sustainability. I think that this year is going to be sort of a fall off year. So whether that means Jerry makes a move on another starter and sends Flexen to the pen, or when Kirby comes up, Flexen goes to the pen. But I just think a move like that would kind of help solve both of those concerns.
Yeah, I know I've told you guys this in our chat or whatever, but I to some extent I can see why you say that. And maybe that's where, Brash kind of takes his role and jumps with it and jumps up a couple of spots in the rotation by the end of the year, like you mentioned, Coop. But also, like, Flexen's not a bad pitcher. He's got good stuff. I think sort of a Colin McHugh type role where where he can spot start, he can give you length in the bullpen, he can come in a big situation. Sort of that flexibility in the bullpen and starting games will be extremely valuable, especially over a 162 season where you're going to need all the depth that you can get. And so, like, pushing him to the bullpen, but in a more long relief, flexible type role, I think that'll be good for flexing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, honestly. And especially if Kirby comes up and is anything like Brash has been, oh, heavens to Betsy, the rest of the AL West is going to be in trouble for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Kirby has
Kirby's
looked really good in AA.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was about to say. Quality starts at Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it could be up fairly soon. He's looked good in spring training, looked good in Arkansas. Maybe
Could also be Levi
maybe get a
Stout,
couple
too.
starts at AAA, Tacoma, but I think Kirby could be up fairly soon here, like maybe June-ish. I could
Yeah,
see.
I've
could see
heard
him.
middle of June as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see him up with the club. All right, that
Alrighty.
seems.
Shall we go to the Seahawks section?
Let's do
Or are we
it. I'm
good.
excited.
Yeah, let's move on to the
Alrighty.
extended draft here.
Yes, draft week is upon us.
Draft week is indeed upon us.
Yeah, just starting
Honestly,
off today. This is
There's
probably
so
the-
many options for the Seahawks to go. We couldn't limit it to just one thing. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do a 7-round Seahawk mock draft. And for all the new people, this is how it's going to work. As you see, I've got PFF up right here. There's not going to be any trades or anything. But basically how it's going to work, does Cooper or Nolan want to go second? Because I'm going to go first. Which one of you two want to go second?
I have no preference. Up to you, Nolan.
You can go second. I haven't really looked into this that much, but I kind of have a
Okay.
general idea.
All right. So I'll go first to kind of show everyone how this is kind of what I'm looking for here. Then we'll go Cooper, Nolan, and then Ryan. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to leave it at the board here, and we're going to kind of give our analysis of what they can do here for said pick, right? So then when all of that's done, we'll go and we'll make a consensus pick. And that'll be how the board moves along in this. And when we make our consensus pick, that'll be the pick for the mock draft. So, with that being said, let us start. Simulate to the 9th overall pick. And this is a board. Ooh, this is a tough board. So, for me, obviously the big names off the board here, Charles Cross and Trayvon Walker, both gone, taken by the Giants. Screw you, New York. Because those are probably the two most likely picks the Seahawks go with here, in all honesty. I really like Charles Cross. I think he is going to be a great tackle in this league. And the fact that he is the 3rd best tackle just speaks to how deep this offensive line draft class is. And then Trayvon Walker, I think, is easily the most athletic person in this draft. Will fit perfectly with Darrell Taylor on the line, give the defense more help, and kind of replace that impact that Bobby Wagner had when he was here. So, as far as the pick I'd go if this was the board. For me, it's between two people. It's between George Karlaftis, who is an edge rusher, who basically can do anything you want him to. He can play off tackle, outside tackle. He can play probably an outside linebacker in a 3-4, which is probably what I see us using him for. So George Karlaftis, to me, I mean, he did great at Purdue. Who knows what he'll do with better competition? But for me, George Karlaftis is probably the guy if we go edge rusher. The other guy I'm looking at here, Trent McDuffie. If you're a Huskies fan, you know Trent very, very, very well, and there's not really much I can say about him that does him justice. he is probably the best corner not named Derek Stingley or Sauce Gardner in this draft. And again, that's a testament to how deep this corner draft is, which helps the Seahawks because those are probably their two biggest needs. So for this, I'd probably go Karlaftis first over McDuffie, but that is just me. Coop, it's on you.
All right. So yeah, a lot of good things there. I've seen there's really some conflicting debate on the first 8 picks, really. Falcons, I've seen a lot of mock drafts having the Falcons taking a receiver. I've seen Malik Willis even sneaking in to either Carolina or Detroit. So there's a lot of debate on what the top 8 is going to look like. I think what you see now on the board is honestly what it should look like. I think those outside of Kyle Hamilton, who I actually think is one of, if not the best player in this draft, I think those 8 on the board are your other top players. So obviously, I think the Seahawks would love a situation where a Charles Cross falls into your lap or a Thibodeau. But
I'd lose my mind if we got Thibodeau, dude.
In this case, at number 9, based off what's off the board, this is a no-brainer for me. I know PFF doesn't have him very highly rated, but I'm going with Jermaine Johnson right here. He's an edge rusher out of Florida State. I think he's one of the most athletic edge rushers that has come out of the draft in a long time. And I would incline you guys to go watch some of his highlights. But he is a riser. I think Todd McShay had him in the top 10 actually in his recent mock. I know some of the guys at CBS are also pretty high on him, but didn't really know much about him until about 3 weeks ago. Watched a lot of his stats, and I think he fits this defense very, very well.
All right. So Cooper's personal pick, Jermaine Johnson. Mine is George Karlaftis. So we have 2 edge rushers there. Nolan, the floor is yours.
Well, after seeing who has gone, I think it should be edge, and I think I'm going to go with Cooper here on Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. He's a Florida transfer. He's Daniel Jeremiah's 9th best prospect. Just good athlete, ideal size, good get off, just someone you want on the defensive line with Jermaine Johnson.
Criminally underrated by PFF. Just throwing that out there.
All right. I mean, yeah, I like it. I like Karlaftis. I'd take Jermaine Johnson, in all honesty. It seems like the Pete Carroll type of pick to make. And so if Walker isn't there, Johnson might be the pick.
32? Ryan? Wow.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I think I like your guys' commentary. I mean, definitely this is like they can't afford to mess this up. So if either of these guys are available, like definitely you gotta. Honestly, it kind of looks like 1A, 1B to me, just based on what you guys have said. So like whoever, if one of them comes off the board first, you're still getting like a similar talent, kind of in a way. Like it's not quite like 1A, 1B pretty much is what I'm trying to say. So I mean, whichever guy, like I know you guys seem to like Johnson or whatever, but I think I'd be happy with either.
Yeah, I think huge thing for this Seahawks team. In the past, I think we've got so caught up at trying to be cute with our picks, targeting one position in particular. But with a rebuild, you need these building blocks. You can't go for these puzzle pieces. And if I'm being completely honest, come draft day, I would not be surprised if we see a guy like Stingley available at 9, guy like Cross at 9. I've even seen Evan Neal possibly sliding to 9.
I doubt that happens. If Evan Neal falls at 9, they'd be stupid not to take him.
I know. There's
Right, terrible timing. Worst timing in the world. Right. There he goes. He's back.
It'll be a
All
little
right.
bit of
Oh
a
my gosh,
stitched
what
together
happened?
video, but that's all right.
That's fine. We do that anyway.
All right.
Yeah,
You like
Bazan, I
left
think
the
you're on.
meeting.
I don't know. It like I just got booted or something. I don't know. That's weird. It happened a
Connection,
couple
maybe?
times. This is weird. Oh. Anyways, don't let me hold
Bazan.
the group back.
So, as I was saying earlier, the thing about this draft is that if you're picking in the top 10, you can't really mess up a pick because all these players then in the top 10 are so good and like you can't really go wrong.
Yeah,
And honestly, there's a scenario where I see the Seahawks could trade back if someone they like isn't there. Which could see though the Seahawks if it falls that far. You could see some of these guys like you could probably trade back and still get Johnson. In all honesty.
yeah. I think from what I'm seeing, Johnson is liked by the Panthers as well. I've even seen him go at 3. Oh my
Oh, he
gosh.
left
Oh
again.
my gosh. What is happening?
Oh, he's back. All
It
right.
must be my internet right now.
Continuing on with that.
Sorry about
Um,
that. Ay, ay, ay.
yeah, I think the only way the Seahawks could mess this up at 9 is if they make a stretch. I'm going to go with a stretch for an O lineman. I think that could really be their only chance of falling into a trap here at 9,
Probably
taking a guy.
Raymond.
I've seen Trevor Penning at 9. I think that is a horrible pick.
Bernhard Raymond at 9 is awful
Yeah, not
too.
to say that those guys aren't good offensive linemen, but I think those are more mid to late first round picks that I think the Seahawks would be wasting their slot if they took him at 9.
Mhm.
All right. So consensus pick, Trey Johnson. That's the pick.
PFF's gonna absolutely
Okay.
slap us in the face.
All right.
with that
We'll
one.
simulate through the second round. We have back-to-back picks here. So right away, the name that pops out to me, Leo Chanel.
Mhm.
Linebacker, though if we've taken Johnson, we probably don't need him. For this, so good.
Lord.
He's so good. And I mean, there's not really much you can say about him other than he fits the DJ Reed type mold. And I think him with Trey Brown would be absolutely great. It would be a young secondary, kind of getting their footing without DJ Reed because that hurts. But this would fill a hole and fill it well. So, I mean, him and McDuffie, we saw what they did. And to get his buddy, keep Kyler Gordon in Washington like that. That's me.
I
Coop, floor is
100%
yours.
agree here. I think at 40 and 41, if Seahawks did go with an edge rusher at 9, I think we'll see a cornerback and a tackle here. So might as well just stay on that cornerback train. Roger McCreary, I think he's also a great option out of Auburn. Really, I honestly don't have a preference between him and Gordon at this spot. I'd be very happy with either. But McCreary's Gordon's the hometown kid from UW, so we're gonna go with him here.
Yeah, I think Gordon's the pick here.
Alrighty.
Seattle, they love picking hometown guys. Gordon's very smooth athlete at his size. He's good against the run too. Very good at goal line situations. You saw in the game against Michigan. But as Cooper was saying, Roger McCreary is also a great option. So I would be fine with either one of those, but I would just prefer Gordon because his hometown kid.
Yeah. I think that is very good points. I think McCreary is also very, very good. And I would not be upset if they pick McCreary over Gordon. I just prefer Gordon because I've seen him more and I like what he does. Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Coop Bazan. I agree with you guys. I think it would be a great story to take the hometown kid and and he seems really good. So why not?
All right, so
Yeah.
that's
Only
pretty
other
much
thing I'd
unanimous.
like to
Kyler
add
Gordon there.
about Gordon, his pro day was a little bit concerning, and I think that's raised some questions from people. But we've seen him play enough being in Washington that I don't have any concerns about his pro day and his numbers. The kid can play.
Yeah, he fell down 20 spots, and Daniel Jeremiah is a big board, but there's a difference between when it's just you on the field and when there's other guys on the field.
Absolutely.
All right, so Kyler Gordon's the pick. Now, for 41 here, this is interesting because either they take an O-line here to me, either they take a tackle or a center, or they trade back. The 41st pick is the pick I think that is easily the most likely to get traded in a package to get traded down. So honestly, I don't know what a trade down deal would look like, but since we're sticking here, obviously tackle, massive hole, and sticking with the theme of hometown kids, here you go. Abraham Lucas, a little iffy in pass protection, I won't lie, but he was in a very pass-heavy Cougars offense, and he's super big, obviously. 6'6", 315. And honestly, I like what I see from him. I think he is, I mean, obviously they say he's a 4th-round pick. I don't think that's the case at all. I think teams needy will go after him. Luke Godeke is the other guy I think would be really good here, obviously. So, I mean, he was with Bernhard Raymond on the... come on, Mouse. Anyway. I mean, he is probably better as guard, if I'm going to be honest. But I see the pick here as being Abraham Lucas. Coop, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been really nice to go in knowing maybe about Dwayne Brown before the draft, although that's seeming less and less like a possibility. I like Dwayne Brown, but I agree, Abraham Lucas, I think people tend to over-associate Washington State in recent years with that Mike Leach air raid. If you look at the numbers, last year, Washington State was actually in the 40s, like 45-ish% of the time they're running the ball. And this kid is a great run blocker. And he also is a pretty decent pass blocker as well. So I think if we really want to reestablish that Pete Carroll identity of run blocking, this is a very, very underrated pick.
Yep, I agree. I think this is the Pete Carroll pick, and they finally address O-line. Bazan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. This is definitely a Pete Carroll pick. Again, another hometown guy, the real theme from this mock. Good in pass, decent in the run. Yeah, I just think this is the pick.
And Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like the move.
He's one of those guys too, where what you mentioned, Tristan, they could probably trade down possibly even 8, 9, 10 slots and be able to pick him up.
Yep. And I would be ecstatic if that was the case. So, yep, Abraham Lucas here, gonna get drafted. And right there, you basically solved the 3 most pressing issues for the Seahawks. Now for the 3rd round pick. Now, there are a lot of options they could go here. They could go with any of the other options, give some much needed depth, or they could go quarterback. I personally don't think they'd take a quarterback in this draft. I think that next year is going to be way too loaded of a draft class, way too loaded of a free agency in terms of QB. You have so many options next year. I think it's safe to say we write out Drew Lock for a year and then get our franchise guy next year, whether that's in free agency with a guy like Gardner Minshew or in the draft with a guy like Bryce Hall or CJ Stroud, because God knows we're going to suck next year. That being said, I see us going O-line. Jamari Sawyer. I like this kid. My NFL comparison to him, honestly, from what I've seen, is an Elton Jenkins type role. He can basically play any part on the line, but he is good in guard and center from what PFF says, which honestly, we need center depth. God knows we can't have Kyle Fuller being our starting center again. Like, please God, no. So for me, Jamari Sawyer is the pick here. I would be over the moon if we got him. As far as other options, I like Marcus Jones here. I also like Donovan West, another center. But yeah, to me, Sawyer's the pick here. Oop, your thoughts?
Yeah, Sawyer's definitely a guy I have on my board as well. I don't really like him at center. I think he's either going to be at tackle or right guard if we were to pick him up. But honestly here, I'm going to go with a guy that you can just put in right next to Jordan Brooks, Brian Asamoah. I think he's not only is he the best player available, but I think he fits the scheme of the Seahawks well. And I think that reestablishing what we lost in Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright with these two young guys could be very, very vital.
Honestly, that's a fair point. I could see him going Asamoah here. I just personally like Sawyer just so we can get that offensive line depth that we have sorely lacked for God knows how long. So anyway, Nolan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that pick. I think linebacker is a little bit of a need here, and I think Brian would be a good complementary linebacker to Jordan Brooks.
All right, and then Ryan.
I would like to pose a question real quick. Just go back to the last round. Tristan, I know you mentioned trading down with the last pick. How would that, and any of you guys can chime in if you want, how would trading down work? Like what's the strategy with taking that previous pick and trading down?
Basically it would just give you more picks, more shots at the draft board. Honestly, I don't know what a trade package would really look like. I mean, there are so many options. You could probably get another second and then maybe a third. It depends on how much other teams are willing to trade up for it. But I mean, you could see him move down to the 50s. You could see him go down to maybe even early 60s if you really want. But yeah, since there's no trades, I think it would impact who the Seahawks look at a bit more. But especially for that 41st pick, not really.
Yeah, I think you get a later second and then I'd say either a fourth or a fifth for that spot.
And especially in this
mock.
mock
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially in this mock with the 41st pick, with the guy like Sam Howell still on the board, I could easily see a team panic and maybe trade up to get him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Same with Matt Corral too. I'd put him in the mix.
Yep. All right. So the pick here seems to be Asamoah. As much as I would love Jamari Sawyer, we'll go Asamoah here. Address linebacker, get a guy for Jordan Brooks. I'm okay with that. And we simulate until round 4. And ooh, this is kind of an interesting board. Now we get into the players that people don't really know about that much. So let's see what we've got here. We've got Cordell Flott, a corner, and Damari Mathis, 2 corners out of LSU and Pitt respectively. I like those. I wouldn't be too mad about those picks. Kellen Deesh is also right there. Still, I don't know how. He would probably be the pick I'd go with here. Just, again, get more depth. Much depth as you physically can get. And especially if a guy like Deesh falls, who is projected to be a 3rd-round pick, if you can get him in the early 4th, absolutely go for it. Absolutely go for it. Coop, your thoughts?
I mean, I really like Cordell Flott out of LSU, but I think this pick's a no-brainer. I'm going with Deesh as well.
Yeah, agree, 100%.
Ryan?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm just taking care of something. Yeah, you guys are pretty spot on usually, so.
All right, Kellen Deesh it is. Here we go. All right, so now we go to the 5th round. Again, this is going to be where people don't really know who the picks are. We have 2 back-to-back in the 5th. Again, 153 or 152, two picks that I could definitely see getting traded. So, as far as who's on the board here, Joshua Williams, I think, is the pick here, mainly because center, we need center. God knows we've needed center for years. And I think that would be the best pick. And I mean, all the three of the top four picks are all O linemen. I could also see Pierre Strong potentially being an option too, for that other pick. But I throw it off to you, Coop. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'd like to see a center as well, but I don't think they go center here. I think they're sticking with the guy they signed from the Chiefs. Blanking on his name right now. But
right.
I'm gonna go
forgot.
for running back.
I think it was Blythe or something.
Yep, Blythe. You're right. I'm gonna go with the running back here. And
Pierre
I'm
Strong.
gonna go
All
with
right.
a guy who's not. No, actually, he's not on the board at the moment. I'm actually gonna go with Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame.
Kyron Williams. Ooh. Hang on. Gotta love it when my mouse dies.
No worries. I mean, this season at Notre Dame, honestly, I don't think that offense was ran very well. But Kyron Williams was absolutely electric for them. And I think that he'd fit Chris Carson. Not sure how and if he will stay healthy. Chris Carson and Penny, I think that's a good one too. But I think Williams is a very, very versatile guy that could certainly be in the mix as a rookie as well.
Yeah. And since I know we love our hometown boys here, but I'm going to throw it in the ring. If he falls, Max Borghi. I loved what I saw from Max Borghi when he was at Wazoo. I think Williams could be the pick. I think Strong could be the pick. If he falls, Max Borghi could be the pick. Again, I prefer the center just for the depth reasons. I mean, you could use all the depth you can, especially on O-line.
Yeah, I think
Bazan?
honestly, Borghi, in my mind, he is not going to be drafted in the first 6-7 rounds. I've seen some people having him actually not even getting drafted. So I think that could be a good steal later on. I wouldn't take Borghi in round 5, but I did like some of the stuff that I saw.
Fair enough. Bazan, your thoughts?
Yeah, me and Cooper talked about this earlier. I think Williams is also the pick here. Good running back out of Notre Dame. I just want to see more running backs and add more depth to that position, which I think every team should have.
All right. Ryan, I assume you're just going to agree?
Yeah, I agree with Bazan. Just build out that depth. That's just important for any team, really.
All right. So Kyron Williams at 152. Who we getting at 153? And again, I'm going. Ooh, that's a name. Daniel Bellin. Actually, what are we looking at in terms of tight ends? Because they could go tight end. Honestly, I like Isaiah Likely. He could be a good option since he's still there on the board. I don't know about in the 5th round though. I don't know. We've kind of filled a lot of options here. I think we probably just hit other positions again. Jalen Watson is cornerback from Wazoo, still there. Same with Josh Jobe. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think Josh Williams might be the pick here. Coop?
Yeah, I don't think we go tight end. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Noah Fant. And I know
I am too. I'm just worried that he's just not gonna last. He's not gonna last more than a year.
Yeah, we gave Disley, just handed out Disley a big contract as well. So I think it would make sense for us to wait until next year's draft, I think, to target a tight end after we see what happens with Fant. So for me here, I'm kind of torn. I'm either going with Williams or I'm going with Josh Jobe out of Alabama. I think he's a very, very talented cornerback. I think it could fit in well. So yeah, that's my 2 picks there.
All right. Nolan, your thoughts?
For me, it's best player available at a position of need, and I think Williams is that guy. We need center depth, and he's the best center on the board, so
Yep.
All
let's go with him.
Pretty much.
I believe it. Ryan, go ahead. Ryan, you can go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, we didn't hear you.
Oh, must have caught with Bazan, but yeah, pretty much. That's exactly right.
All right, so Josh Williams at 153. It's a good pick. This round, where I don't think we have. Actually, I don't think we have a sixth round pick. I think we just go straight to the seventh.
correct.
Yep.
Hmm.
Straight to the seventh round. And then here it's basically whoever you can get, honestly. I'd probably take Zaquandre Wright. Either or. I don't really care. Deron Bland is also an option. Like, seventh round, no one really cares what you pick.
Right. I think White's actually a very good running back. I know a lot of people actually have him going in the 5th. I'd take Noah Ellis here. I think that building up that D line in the future, because I know our D line right now, we have some veterans who are good players, but they're a little bit older. And I don't think this pick hurts here to take a D lineman.
Yeah, especially with how big that bad at all. So, all right, Bazan. Thoughts?
Yeah, you can't really go wrong with this pick. I would take either Ellis or the corner. Blanking on his name. Either one of those is fine. I don't really have a preference. It's late in the draft. You can't really mess up these kind of picks. So just one of
Only
those two.
concern I have-
It seems like the consensus here is Ellis.
Only concern I
Ryan?
have with Ellis is the level of competition. You could actually see if you go back to his profile, some of his lowest rated games were against better Power 5s. So just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
could you go to D-line and see who's still on the board as well?
I think Ellis is the best player available on that D line, but I could be wrong. Yeah,
Okay.
it looks like it.
McCall, haven't heard too much about him, but yeah, I think Ellis is the pick here.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
like what you
Especially
said.
since PFF projects him as a sixth rounder. All right.
Yeah, I
Ellis
like-
is the final pick in the draft.
All right.
I like it.
Don't be alarmed. Because
And then I'll
PFF
just
is
simulate
gonna
to the end of the
absolutely hate
draft.
on the Jermaine Johnson pick, but I think we definitely feel the team's needs here.
Yeah, I do too.
Mhm.
And people will be mad that we didn't get a quarterback. Yep, D plus from PFF, but who cares? Honestly, it
Mhm.
fills a need. I love that Kyler Gordon pick. I think the Kellen Deach pick is also a really good one. Solid draft. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
I like
Yeah,
the way
he-
that played out, and I do think that no matter who's on the board, I think the first 3 picks we will see edge, corner, and tackle. I think that it's pretty safe to say that, and I'm also really excited because I do think that some of those top elite guys will drop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
this is all you can really do after just trading away your franchise quarterback. Just fill
Yeah,
positions
exactly.
of need and see how.
Yeah,
things
this is big, especially that pick at 9, where they've missed with first rounders in the past. They have to hit here.
Mhm.
Yeah. If they don't get Carolyn Schneider, let's be honest here. All right.
Yeah.
This
Maybe.
will be big. I agree. Like they can't afford to not make this right or have a good draft
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Now, the other possibility with this is they go quarterback in the first round. Now, I'm not a fan of that, as I kind of said before. I'm a little warmer to Malik Willis now than I was, but I think at 9, absolutely not.
Yeah, agree.
So,
I don't.
yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. But I
I'm
mean,
curious-
again, Willis, I wouldn't be too terribly upset.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think it makes any sense to take a quarterback at 9. I agree with you there. The only justification you have for a guy at 9 is a player like Willis because of his ceiling. None of these other quarterbacks are potential top 10 picks, I feel. Some people have Pickett in the top 10. I don't agree with that. I think Willis is the only justifiable top 10 quarterback because of his sheer talent and projected ceiling that he could possibly reach. If he reaches his ceiling, he could be a guy like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Just with Willis, he'll do well in the right situation, and I don't think the Seahawks have the right situation for him yet, or just the right situation to draft a quarterback. Just beef up the lines, and then I'm sure we'll be there next year with the.
And the other part of this equation too is like the quarterback draft next year is gonna be absolutely loaded with talent. I mean, you look at guys like C.J. Stroud and Bryce Hall, and even in free agency, guys like I'd love to see Gardner Minshew wear one of these jerseys. Like honestly, that would be I'd like it. I think he could be a franchise guy. Obviously, he didn't get much help in Jacksonville, and he's been back up in Philly. But I think if with the right situation, we could get a franchise guy like a Minshew or a Hall or a Stroud, and they could change our franchise.
Yeah, I think Bryce Young out of Alabama. I think you're getting Bryce Hall, the TikToker, mixed in.
Right.
There.
My bad.
So Bryce Young, Bryce Young is legit. Same with Stroud. Those two would absolutely love to have him. I'm personally not huge on Minshew. I don't think he's a franchise guy. Not saying that I'd hate to see him be brought in, but I don't think that Minshew by any means is a long-term
Yeah,
situation.
I mean, obviously, I think that's pretty much the consensus here. And maybe the Seahawks trade a 5th-round pick this year for Minshew as a stopgap. I mean, who knows? I could definitely see that being an option, and I would absolutely be ecstatic with that. Right out with Minshew for a year. And if it works, if it doesn't, oh well, you gave up a 5th-round pick. Who cares?
Yeah, and I think the thing about Minshew is that he hasn't really been given a fair opportunity. In Jacksonville, he came in late in the season, and then the previous year he got hurt for a game, or for the whole season, only played one game, and they just started to tank for Trevor Lawrence and gets traded to Philly, becomes a backup. So I just feel like he hasn't really gotten a fair opportunity in this league.
Which is exactly what I'm saying. I think because the talent is there. I think the talent is definitely there with Minshew. But again, it's can he succeed with a fair opportunity is my question.
And just, overall,
I think Seattle's the perfect place for him to find that out. Plus, it'd be a great storyline of him coming back to Washington because he made his name as a Wazoo Cougar. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I think overall with this draft, I think there's a lot of people that may be very critical and skeptical of Schneider and Carroll's ability. But I think the one thing that we have to remember is their success in drafts came at a time of rebuild when they made these picks to get building blocks like the Legion of Boom, Russell Wilson. All of those picks came at a time when they needed building blocks versus puzzle pieces. You see their struggles came at a time when the Seahawks were a perennial playoff team and division contender and champion. Some of those picks in those years were more focused on just picking and prying at certain needs at a position. So I think the freedom that they have now, I think they'll see a little bit more success in the draft.
So, yeah, happy to have you guys on. Thanks for making time, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
And tell the world while we're here, tell the world where we can find you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us. I go to Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, and I'm a freshman here. But yeah, again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to let us come on, and hopefully we can have some joyful discussion after the draft and things to look forward to, not the opposite.
And hopefully we'll have some playoff baseball here in the fall.
Yeah, let's hope
Yep.
so. and hopefully many Mariner games being attended this summer.
Oh yeah.
Should be a lot of fun.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Yep. Have a good one.
Adios.